these companies and completely detached ourselves. So there is no additional secretary and minister and secretary who's giving any instructions to these boards on what to do and what not to do. They've already made out a plan, and in the past 3 months, we've seen a fair reduction in the theft and the losses that these companies used to face. And the IMF and all other business partners and development partners of ours are extremely happy and content with the kind of reforms that are happening within these distribution companies. This will save you and your country and ours more than 500 billion rupees in subsidies that we have to finance through the finance ministry, and pull that money out of the development sector and bear the consequences of the theft and the losses that these companies face. Along with that, the Privatization Commission has already been handed over 3 companies from amongst 10 that are going to be privatized by May next year. So the financial advisors are in place, are about to be in place in the next 1 month by the Privatization Commission. So by the end of next year, out of the 10 companies that Pakistan has, more than 7 of these companies would have been privatized, and privatized in a much healthier manner than we've seen in the past. So the KE privatization is not an ideal one. Is it an ideal one? Are you enjoying K Electric services in this country, in this city? No. He just told me that you'll be a very popular man if you talk against Karachi Electric. So we are trying to learn from that, and we've gone through the learning curve, and hopefully the next privatization process will bring about private sector entities that will be far more efficient than Karachi Electric has been in the past. Pakistan is also facing a very serious issue as far as IPPs are concerned. So we have this constraint on us about how we are supposed to hold the sanctity of our existing contracts and not be unfair to the investors, and yet bring about an environment where IPPs could review the contracts that they have with us. The contracts signed with the IPPs in the past have not been efficient. I'll be very frank in saying that. The kinds of returns that they've earned, the kinds of operation and maintenance cost that they are being paid by us, they are not competitive. They're not regionally competitive, they're not nationally competitive, and hence we need to review the contracts that we've gone in with these IPPs in the past. We'll have to do it with mutual consent. This can't be one-sided, otherwise we'll face international litigation. That's something Pakistan can't afford. Since we're going into a very aggressive privatization process, we would want the investors to feel comfortable enough in investing into Pakistan, but we've started the negotiations, and we plan in the next 1 month or so to arrive at a point where the entire generation profile in Pakistan, which is categorized into 3 parts. One are the plants, which are about 70% of the capacity, that are owned by us, which is the government of Pakistan. Their return on equity needs to be rationalized. So they're earning a lot more profits than they should. We need to ask them to forego that in order for that to have a good impact on the pricing structure of of electricity itself. Then the next category is the ones in the form of wind and solar plants that were invested into all the way from 2002 until 2016. We've also engaged with them, and we are going to talk about trying to bring down and change the environment of take and pay, take or pay, to take and pay, so that we get to utilize the power as much as we want, whenever there is a demand on the grid, and not pay for the rest of the capacity. So this is also going to have a negative impact on the price, and the price will come down. The third part is some of the plants that we do not require anymore. So nobody had ever before sat down and done proper research and analyzed each and every generation plant, which we've done in the past 5-6 months now. And we're going to be talking to every plant, including the government plants, to review their contracts and to bring down the price of power by a good 2.5 to 3 rupees per unit. So this IPP, reviewing of the IPP contracts would actually harvest a good 2 to 3 rupees for you in the within the next few months. Other than the IPPs, we have other serious issues like our national transmission company, the NTDC. There has to be restructuring out there. So there are these 11 or 12,000 employees typically working in a government-controlled environment. So we are splitting that NTDC up into 3 pieces. One is going to form the independent system market operator. This is the key reform that this government has taken upon itself. So from, say, about 2-3 years from now, we are seeing or we are wanting to move towards an environment where there is no single buyer of energy in the market. So right now, all the energy is bought by the government of Pakistan.
Honorable esteemed guests of pharmaceutical industry, delegates from other countries, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Well, I normally do this whenever I have a written speech. Somehow, by seeing the audience, it at times just makes me not read it and address the audience face to face, eye to eye. And I'm just coming from NDU University, and where I had a small interaction with a workshop. And more or less, we were discussing about how the overall economic health of Pakistan economy and other industries is. Well, first of all, I would like to congratulate for really putting up a very nice gathering, a very intellectual gathering, a gathering which can definitely facilitate people in understanding in the industry more, and especially people like us who are the main stakeholders, regulators and the decision makers. So I'm very much pleased to be here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's an opportunity to really be here and learn from you all, and I'm very delighted to see this video also. Which definitely is showing the health of our country, the health of our economic situation, and nothing can really improve illness without a proper medication. So not only you people are doing a great job in giving health to people, but your overall contribution is one of the key factors which I also agree is going to contribute in Pakistan's overall growth, Pakistan's potential, and Pakistan's ability to capture a market which still we have not yet done. You know, it's somehow whenever you're in an environment, you just try to relate the subject and the terminologies accordingly also. And the diagnosis that I think which we do require is very important in Pakistan. And without any proper diagnosis, the solutions can at times do a fluke, but majority, in most cases, the cure is never taken place without a proper dialysis, a proper diagnosis and analysis of a situation of anything, whether it be a health of an individual or a health of your country or your industry or anything. I feel Pakistan for the last many years has only focused certain sectors for growth only. And the concentration of those sectors have limited our policy to be around as a subsidiary, as a savior, as an assistance to only those industries. I guess this all must have started from the agriculture crop of cotton that we had. So everything had to revolve around cotton, whether it's process, it's labor, it's value addition. And I would like to congratulate, it's not that I don't want to congratulate, I want to congratulate all the industrialists who have really put in their hard work in Pakistan in bringing the textile industry to a level which definitely gave us a pride in certain products, in value addition, in catering to the needs of our human resource, employment, services, and overall tax receipts to the government. But in all this meanwhile, what we forgot, that with passage of time, how the economic growth took place from textile had to diversify. We had to channelize our focus, our policies to those sectors also which were in the middle of coming and becoming more opportunities. But somehow we could not see that, except for few areas, again, which gave us a little bit of more pride in terms of the sports goods from Sialkot. Sialkot really emerged as a new product after textile, leather and the sports good where people started to think Pakistan can also lead in other industries too. And same way, we saw how pharmaceutical and surgical goods were taking place. So this journey of expansion and diversification had to really take certain more opportunities in its fare also, and which I believe is the right time where now we are heading and seeing all those new opportunities which can really benefit Pakistan, as was stated in the video also. And that's my core belief also. I'm a very firm believer that every component, every segment, every sector in Pakistan has its own true potential which is yet to be exploited. And how to exactly know what that exploitation is and how to exactly know what that potential of that product, that sector is yet to be identified, is yet to be explored and adventured. And that's one reason in the last government, when the creation of new councils were made, and I recently took a session with most of the councils and only 2 more are left, I had an opportunity of being with the pharma industry and the chemical industry and other industries also. And that was for the first time, being as a minister, any commerce minister had an opportunity to really listen what the market of that particular sector has to say. We do have government committees and a lot of platforms where the overall health of economy is discussed. But that health of an economy exists with many other components. As a whole, fine, addressing it makes difference. But I think so Pakistan needs to be very specific now. We need to be very specific and very specialized, like in medicine. It's not any more generalized. It's more specific and it's more specific. And if we go specifics, I think so there are a lot of opportunities we can really explore, we can invest in, and the whole global market is there to be one of its biggest buyers. And I'm very much delighted to see that one of the key industries that Pakistan has, in which we have expertise, we have know-how, we have knowledge, we have experience, and we know exactly how to that work as pharmaceutical industry. And that's why I very much believe that being as the Minister for Commerce, being as a member of the Parliament and the Cabinet member, the federal government now is wanting to see that diversified approach of addressing all the areas where we need to really focus in. Yes, after this post-budget, there are a lot of questions. There are big question marks, which the industry and many other industries do have, what the government has done and what the government is planning to do. I very much agree on certain things with the industry. It has been a very tough time for the industry to survive after the COVID. And right after the COVID, not exactly the pharmaceutical industry, which I think so benefited a little bit from COVID, but at the same time, there were other industries which really took the toll. So Pakistan's coming out from this overall pressure of not only local industry, but how to be an export-oriented market for the last 2-3 years have been very difficult. Those difficulties definitely had to be because of political reasons, economic reasons, our reserves, our inflation, cost of production, ease of business, and many other things which really made things tougher for the industry and the industrialist and business community. And still there are, it's not that things have really become very good in Pakistan, but we are trying our best. We're trying to, the last 6 months have been very challenging time for the government also, who definitely had to come up and come across all these challenges and slowly and gradually build up that confidence again. It's not an easy thing. To really build up a confidence is, I think so, one of the crucial things which we need to really build up in people's heart. Trust does miracles. And I'm a very firm believer that we need to relate and engage with our business community, meet them as much as we can, engage with their thoughts, listen from them, and give that space where they can really vent out, and then the government and the business community jointly put their effort in going forward and addressing all these challenges and bring Pakistan out of this whole economic issue and crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, you have, I think so, a very wonderful fraternity and a very keen depth of your industry. I would not like to take much of your time, but I would definitely like to, with the closing things, that this government is very much dedicated in not only addressing these issues, but trying to address them in the right manner. We do have a lot of rescue plans which any government brings in, but they're very short while and they're very short-sighted too. We need to develop long-term policies which first of all need to be sustainable. Policies which are not sustainable and their engagement with the international investment is not committed for longer period of time never creates a trust. And that trust is a question mark which is in the minds of people who are working in Pakistan and abroad. And that's the only key thing which really restricts people from coming in Pakistan and the investors to spend more in Pakistan. So our first goal is to really build up that confidence, overcome those impediments, and those impediments can only be fulfilled and covered once we do those right steps in the right manner and concrete steps. We saw few small relief when it comes to interest rate, to inflation, to the stock market rising a little bit, people's confidence, but at the same time there's a very big issue of cost of production which the industry is facing. I was glad to see today the finance ministry is really pushing hard on some of its schemes like the SME sector of Exim Bank and the faster process of sales tax returns and many other returns which the government needs to do, and facilitation of EFS has been one of the key components. But however, at the same time, there are a lot of obligations, as you know all, there are international commitments for going to attain a global financial rescue plan is very crucial for Pakistan's health also. Once we do have that rescue plan, which again was mentioned in the video, it's not an ideal thing, but at the same time, the options are very limited too. I'm very much committed on this firm that we do have a lot of ideas and there are a lot of plans which we have emotionally attached with us and we want to do for our country. But somehow it's going to take a little time in order to really make all these things channelized in a better way of producing, of really coming out and really taking us out from this whole mess that we are stuck in. Pakistan, like I always say, Pakistan's asset inventory is tremendous. That is one thing which we have. That's another question, that how we are dealing with it. But when it comes to our natural resource in any sector, whether it's be our human resource, whether it be our agro side, water, Pakistan natural resources and mineral needs and mining needs, metal needs of future, renewable, the marine blue economy that we have, 80% of all these natural resources are still to be explored.
खान साहिबा, मोहतरमा ज़ेबा साहिबा, मोअज़्ज़ज़ पार्लियामेंटेरियंस, सबसे पहले मैं